dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. The power is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
All right, Louis, we will talk some business. Welcome in, everybody. Hello to all of you small business rock stars out there. Welcome into Small Business Saturdays. My name's Aaron Montgomery, and this is my amazing wife, Kylene, and we own our success group, and we're here to talk to you guys today about streamlining your business. And this is the 8th week of our 10-part series on the fundamentals of business success. So, but let's get that energy up here on a Saturday, Kylene. Let me hit a little music here for us. So we'll get moving. Everybody, we'll get back to that cool beat that we've got there. All right. Well, again, we're talking today about that streamlining your business, and but we want to take a quick moment for you guys to just go share this. Right, get out there, share this. Let's get more people in here. The more people we have in the community together, right? The more we get, even more perspective and growth and just unity, right? And being able to kind of come from a place of togetherness. So
I love that.
We've got Jerry tuning in. Hello, Jerry. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, just go out there and share this with your networks really quick. So there we go, Kylene.
Love it. I love the music too. Hello, everyone. Excited to be here today. Happy Saturday. We want to hear from you. So drop a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from and what your business is all about.
Definitely curious to learn more about you. And even if we do already know about you, go ahead and put it in the comments anyhow. We will love to make sure that we share with everybody else around us too. Mm-hmm. So I know some of you guys are longtime friends like Jerry, but again, we can make sure that we share with new people to the Small Business Saturdays podcast here. All right. Well, the other thing that we'd like to ask from you, and we will get the music off here in just a second. We just want to get some energy. I don't know. I don't think Kylene's moving quite yet. So where's your head bob? There it is.
My head bob.
That's the head bob we were looking for. Yeah. But also don't forget to hit the like button. Again, share this with your fellow entrepreneurs. And also make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. And let me get that up for you. Pushing buttons, trying to dance and read at the same time.
You're doing great.
always good. All right. So we'll hit that liveosg.com. Check that out. All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring the music down here, Kylene.
All right.
So let's get into this here. Mm-hmm. Before we do, though, I'd love to hear your intention for the show. What do you hope that we get to share today? What do you hope that people take out of this?
I truly hope that when we share, my intention is that small changes can have huge impacts over time in your business. I truly hope people can walk away with that belief.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
what about you, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. So before I do share, I do want to, again, tell people who are tuned in live, or if you are watching the replay even, go ahead and comment, type what you're hoping to learn from our time here together this beautiful Saturday, and make sure that you are not only consuming, listening, right, that you're also engaging and commenting and being part of this conversation. So, Kylene, my intention for today is to show people how putting some time into streamlining their business, right? And this is what I would consider the working on portion of what we do, mm-hmm. right? And most of the time I hear these comments like, well, I just don't have time to do that, right? And my argument is always, well, you don't have time not to do this, right? So, because when we work on streamlining our business, when we work on the processes that we do, that's yes, it might take some time up front to kind of slow down and take a step back and look at that and improve that. But that little time up front is going to equal to a lot of time on the back end. And so you're going to get your time back. And what I'm also seeing when people start implementing these ideas that we're going to talk about here today and the ideas. So this is fundamental number 8 in the book here. And so you also get your sanity back. And just, I mean, I think that's worth its weight in gold right there, Kylene. So that's my intention for today. So people can kind of see, hey, I can get my time back. I can also get a little bit of my sanity back if I take some time to work on my business, work on these parts of my processes. So what do you think? Should we start?
Yeah, I think we should start. I think this is a really important show for people.
Okay. All right. Well, as we normally do, and as we always will do, and hello, Sandy, thanks for being here. We break these into 3 main pillars. So it's mindset, foundation, fundamentals. Those 2 are the second pillar, and then wellness. And again, just as a reminder for everybody, I know I say this every week, but I will continue to remind us so we can make sure that our mindset's correct. Wellness means not just physically, how we're feeling physically, but how we're feeling mentally, the holistic approach to wellness, which is what Kylene and I are all about, right? So, because we're a great yin and yang to each other, right? Where she's focused on her areas and brings her strengths to the table, and her yoga instructing and what she does with Rise, Shine, Smile Yoga. Me being so uber focused on the business side of things and really thinking about these processes. Plus, we both are big time into understanding the mindset of success. We spend a lot of time, not only when we're talking on here, right, but just in general. I sometimes wonder if you'll ever get tired of, our dates turning into just conversations about how we better our lives, right? So
absolutely not.
Yeah, I know you're.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, for sure. So anyhow, those are the 3 pillars. Today, we felt like the best flow was going to be mindset, then wellness, and then we'll come back and build the foundation. So does that sound like a good plan?
I love it. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the mindset. And I think the first thing that we need to think about, okay, now, what we're talking about is anything in your business that is working in, right? So Jerry and Sandy, I know they both make products. So that could be the production stuff that they do. But this could also look like, how do you interact with customers, right? How do you set up and prepare to go to an event? How do you do the shipping part of your business? So all of those tasks that you would consider like a working in, right? Kind of what we've got to do to kind of get the job to the finish line, right? So maybe you're not a decorator, maybe you do a service-based business, right? So maybe it is the interaction with your clients. Maybe it is how do you get new clients, things like that. So all of it could even be like, your social media, like posting on social media, working in your business kind of task. And so what we want to do is we want to take a step back from those tasks. And then we want to create the mindset that's going to give us what we need to make those tasks more efficient and better think through them at the end. Because one of the other sides of this is, how many times have you interacted with a business and you're like, did anybody look and think about this policy at all? Like, can you make, like Facebook, for example, right? Can they make it any more difficult for their customers, right? Which are the people that are buying ads, to actually understand their process? Airlines, right? Like, wow, you guys really think about how you're treating your customers?
Yep.
Hyundai for us, right? Like, wow, does it ever stop to think about how their customers feel about their policies? Right? So there's a lot of that too, right? But before we get into that, though, just kind of the mindset of what it means to work on your business to streamline your business. And so, Kylene, for me, I've always found the best way to look at what we're doing is to put ourselves in the shoes of a race car pit crew. Right? And I know you guys have probably tell this story before, but just for anybody that's newer. In fact, now I got to watch my process there. I didn't get the banner down. So race car pit crews, right? Their responsibility is to change the tires, gas it up, make any adjustments to the car. And I know, Kylene, you're not a big racing fan, but I enjoy watching racing. I don't think it's because I'm a racing fan. I enjoy the process, the strategy, and kind of listening and learning how these guys think. Because I mean, these guys are on the edge of their seat, going 200 miles an hour, this far away from each other, right? But their pit crew is probably the most important piece of that race. They change the tires, fill up the gas, do the adjustments, depending on what particular race it is, but 15 seconds in NASCAR. And the difference between 13 seconds and 14 seconds could mean that driver loses the race.
Yeah.
So we're talking seconds here. So it's incredibly important that they go as fast as they possibly can, but it's also incredibly important that they get everything right. Right? Like, they miss a lug nut, that driver's life could be in danger. I mean, that's how serious it is that they get it right. Now, we're fortunate, I think, that what we're talking about here, yes, we want to get it right. Yes, when we make a mistake in our business, it does feel a little bit like life or death. But I think for most of us, it's not the end of the world, right? So, okay, let's get rid of that place. But, and so it's always made me think about this race car pit crew mentality here, Kylene. And I don't know if you remember this, but we were on one of our trips. We were sitting there in the hotel, just relaxing, watching a little bit of TV. And there was a show on where these guys went to a race car pit crew school. Do you remember that?
I don't think I remember this.
Okay, you may have been napping.
I probably fell asleep.
Yeah. I think you were napping. But I'm sitting there watching this, and the guy who's teaching the pit car, future pit car crews, the whole thing that they preached the entire time was slow down to speed up. Right? Like, slow down to speed up. And that's what that like, oh man, light bulb went off for me, because that's really what we've got to do, right? We've got to slow down. We've got to take ourselves back from it. We got to clear our minds, get the big picture, but also when you're doing the thing, right? Like if you're frantic and just doing everything, you're probably going to get it wrong. You're going to have to redo a bunch of things. You're not focused. But if you are moving with intention and with pace, right? So when you're making stuff, for example, right? Are you just going, okay, I'm going to maybe work on this. Oh, there's something over there. Oh, shiny object here, right? And I know that's the way a lot of us do things. I do it. And, so, but if you're really busy, right, you got a lot of stuff to do, you build a process, right? Okay, let's make sure that, Kylene, like, give us the example, like you made, it still blows me away. In the course of about a month and a half, you made about 10,000 plus ceramic sublimation ornaments on a 15 by 15 clamshell press. Like this, piece of junk, I thought, but it's what
great.
We had. and even when I got you the bigger, better one, you didn't want to use it. So talk to us about that, right? Like, what was the mentality there that you were able to kind of get that done?
Well, I mean, it just shows that. Is it feedback for you or just me? You're good?
Just you.
Okay. I'll just keep talking then. Well, yeah, I mean, really what it was is I sat down and you pointed out some things for efficiency, right? And then I created my process. I did the SOP, and therefore I got really good at my processes. This goes to here, this goes to here, this goes to here. So I was constantly moving, but I was moving in a efficient way and a safe way. And it kept me going forward. So it is like a well-oiled machine. I couldn't not open the press when the timer went off, right? Because what would happen then? That's a safety thing. So it just kind of
do them all too.
Exactly. Yeah. We didn't have the time to be doing that. So it really was just almost being a creature of habit. And that's, I think, what we're talking about here, where you have, you look at the most efficient way to do your process, and then you just continue to do that over and over. And, you don't really even think about it anymore because you've prepared for it and you've done it, and it kind of operates on its own in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jerry added, pit crews seem to know exactly what to do step by step. And and again, you mentioned SOP. For people that aren't familiar with that acronym, what does that mean?
Yeah, that is your policy. That's your standard operating process, not policy, but process. So that's how you do things. And you were like, take pictures, Kylene, when you do it, because someday you're going to need help. And so I did. And it did really help when I had someone come in and work with me in there. Because it went like, even like the silly little steps that you wouldn't think that mattered, like pulling tape, how many pieces of tape to take off at a time, because it saves you a couple seconds here when you put it on the transfer paper. So anyway, it's really just breaking it down that far. So you are just like a well-oiled machine, and you just go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Darren said standard operating procedure. Thank you, Darren. And Sandy, this is exactly it, right? The same process for every order every time. And so that's the mindset that we have to be thinking about, right? And I understand, right? There's some that have that, but you have to understand in your business when it's time to be creative and loose, and when it's time to be efficient, right? And anytime you're doing a project that is working in your business, the more efficient you can be, the more time you're going to get back, right? The biggest thing I hear from the folks that we get to work with at our success group is there's just not enough time in the day, right? They're overwhelmed, they feel frantic, right? And they just don't know how to do it. And I'm always suggesting slow down to speed up, right? So let's get some organization, get a standard operating procedure in place, and because here's the other part of this, right? We go into a business, we're not sure when it's going to grow, and then all of a sudden it does grow, right? And we talk to people all the time. In fact, one of our Masters of Success members, one of the challenges she's facing right now is she's done such a good job with her business, she sees it growing, and she's worried about handling that, right? But when we have this mindset kind of that Racecar Pit Crew mentality, so to speak, what that also does for us is it allows for efficiency under pressure, right? Like you said, we didn't have time to remake stuff. And that's the truth, right? You have to, and so kind of having that efficiency under pressure comes from practice. It comes from thinking through your processes. It comes from places like that. But it also comes from being willing to, you talked about, number of pieces of tape that you're pulling off the tape, right? You would go, oh, that's a waste of my time to really be thinking about that or documenting that. But the reality is you've got to minimize those wasted movements, right? So, and again, it doesn't matter what business you're in, the wasted movements of when you're dealing with your customers, for example, right? So if you are a service-based business, or maybe you're doing design work or something like that, right? How can you be efficient in that? Do you find that you're making a whole bunch of designs and then the customers are going, oh, I don't really like any of those. Can we do this? Well, that's something to work on in your streamlining of your business. Stop making stuff until you talk to them and find out why you're disconnected from what they really want, right? And that can be it. I think a lot of it boils down to how do we minimize wasted movement, right? So you talked about the tape thing, but one of the other things is you have to kind of look at the whole big picture of it, right? So again, we're just using this example because it's a great example. Don't think of that it's got to be that's the way your business runs. But these ornaments that you were making, one of the things is I do the printing, right? I did the printing and you were doing the pressing. Yeah. And then we were working together kind of at the back end of it a little bit because you were packaging and I was shipping, right? But when I was printing in such a way that it was as quick and easy for me to do it. Yeah. Right. And then I give you the stuff. And then it just so happened that you needed my help kind of getting things packaged up. And I'm going, wow, so you got to look through each one of these orders and figure out what goes with what. And
Yeah.
right. And so we changed our process, right? We kept everything in a certain order. We kept all the paperwork in a certain order. And then, yes, we did still match everything up to make sure that it was exactly right. Going back to that mentality of you got to get it right.
Yeah.
But how can we do that quicker? Right. And so we changed our process there. And then this actually came from my time when I was working with Pick the Gift. And we're shipping 1,000+ orders a day during the holiday season. Right. And so as it worked out, I would spend most of my day doing the things that I was responsible for, from the managing the customer service, all the kind of front end stuff. And then when that shift was done, I would go to the back and I would do shipping. Right? And I'd get back there and it was, oh man, it was like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to take every paper out and then scan it. And so it made me stop and think. I'm like, okay, I get that the person that's packaging this is just, again, doing their part as quickly as they can, but it's not going to take them any more time to fold the paper neatly and stick it in with the barcode hanging out the top. Right. And so I would teach them that. I would show them, hey, okay, cool. I appreciate that you've put this thing in this little envelope, but just fold that in half, stick it in so the barcode's hanging out the top. So then all I've got to do, scan the barcode, push it down in there, seal the bag, out the door. Right. And so it's minimizing that wasted movement. Mm-hmm. So I want you guys to right now, and just be as honest as you can. Think about something in your business that maybe you could streamline a little bit, that maybe has a little bit of wasted movement. Right. An example I always give in the seminars that I teach is I always, because it's funny to watch everybody shake their head and go, uh-huh. I go, has anybody ever spent any time looking for scissors? Right, when I'm talking to embroidery people or people that do, sublimation or any of the decorating stuff that I'm typically speaking at those shows, I go, has anybody ever been looking for scissors? Right? It's like everybody goes, yeah, that's me. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got probably 15 pairs of scissors floating around, and still from time to time we have to go hunting for them. Right? But that's, again, part of the process. How can you find a way to fix that wasted movement? So for us, it was go to Michelle. There you go. It says scissors. Yeah. Right. That's an investment in your time, right? Mm-hmm. If you're like, man, I just can't afford to get 4 extra pairs of scissors right now. You can't afford not to have 4 extra pairs of scissors right now, because that time you get back will more than pay for those 4 scissors very quickly. Yeah. Right. So get 4 extra pairs of scissors, but then, right, what's the other thing that I'm always kind of like on, and I'm not saying that I'm the best at it, but I try to focus on when you use the scissors, what should you do?
Oh yeah, I was going to add that, put things back where they're supposed to be. Yeah, so then when you need them, they're always there. Yeah, exactly. And that's why you have multiple around your space.
Yeah. Yeah. And so thinking about this, minimizing wasted movement, and going back to what Jerry had said earlier, pit crews seem to know exactly what to do step by step. Yeah. And that's, again, part of the process, right? So if you watch, like I said, I watch racing more for the learning opportunities than the fact that I'm a big race fan. I do think it's, interesting to watch these guys, literally putting their lives on the line to go fast. And they're all a bunch of like arrogant jerks too, but if you watch that pit crew, like I watch the pit stops more than anything else, it's a delicate balance. So in NASCAR, you've got the guy with the big gas tank on his shoulder, right? And he's a big old dude, and he's got it down in there. He's doing like this. And then it just seems like he knows exactly when he goes, undoes, steps back, the tire changer goes in front of him, and he comes back in. Like, he doesn't look or anything like that. He's totally focused on his job, and he goes, boop, boop, right? So that is choreographed. Right? Now, I get it. Maybe you're a solopreneur. You don't need to worry about some person running in front of you. But again, just thinking through that, how can I lay my stuff out a little bit better? So I started to ask you guys a question, and I never finished it. So those of you guys tuned in right now, just what could be one minor thing that you could change, maybe even today, right, in your business that would streamline the process a little bit better? Could you move a piece of equipment and make it closer? Could you shift the angle of a piece of equipment or something like that? Could you clear off your desk and have more room to write, or get an extra pair of scissors? Make sure you've got an extra pen. I don't know. What other ideas come to mind, Kylene?
You could have I'm just thinking about how when you turn on your computer, the screens that you need to have open automatically open. So you don't have to think about going to check your email or going to your Asana list or things like that. It's just right there. That's one step that you didn't have to do that prepared you to get going into your
Exactly. Right. Have that process. So whatever, if you guys want to go ahead and type in some things there. Okay. Yeah, there you go. This is great, Jerry. Thank you. He said something as basic as a thermal label printer made a big time savings difference. As we ship so many items each day, we used to print out labels on a desktop printer, cut them out, and then tape them onto a packages. Absolutely, right? Yeah. I've got a Zebra printer right over there. But yeah, they're not the cheapest things in the world, right? I think they're $150, $200 for a decent one. But again, compared to what Jerry was just talking about there, tape versus zip, boom.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm doing all the sound effects for whatever reason today.
Well, I was just thinking when you were going back to how you were printing and then how we were keeping things weren't exactly in order. We just had bulk orders together in a way, and then I would have to go match them. When we switched that and we kept everything in order, it's in order from the time we put the transfer on to how we put it on the press and then how we take it off the press. There was a systematic process that we taught the people that came in to help us. And they kind of looked at us weird when I'd share, it's really important that you take this one first and then you work your way backwards when you're taking them off the press, because it's going to save you so much time when you're packaging these up. It's just being open to seeing things and how they're working. Sometimes maybe bring another person in just to look at your process and get some feedback on that. They might see something that you're missing that could save you a lot of time. Yeah,
100%. Yep. So I think we've covered a lot of the mindset. A couple other quick points that we wanted to cover for you guys is we talked about the coordination and some of that. It is really a difference between balancing speed and accuracy, right? Because as you mentioned before, the mistakes can be costly. And not only just costly financially, but costly to your time, right? Redoing things, having to, do it again, right? So again, thinking about the big picture. And I think the other important part is to understand that this is a continuous improvement thing, right? You just said, you got to be open to this. And I think we've got to be open to understanding that this can always evolve. It's always worth looking for ways. So what I like to encourage people to do, and again, regardless of what your business is, you typically have a peak season, right? Either it's a peak season that you've manufactured through additional marketing efforts, or it's just a peak season based on the seasonality of your business, right? And so what my suggestion always is to really understand when your peak season is, and then have an extra notepad or way to keep track of things, and just be on the lookout, not to change anything, not to actually make any improvements, but just be on the lookout for anything that's a bottleneck, right? Meaning, could you improve that? Could there be some opportunity for improvement, right? And then just kind of start writing those things down and write down every single thing each time. So if it is a bottleneck in shipping, write that down and any kind of detail you can add to it. And then write it down again if it happens again, right? Because what you're going to do is then in that kind of calm after the peak season, right? Okay, yes, first you need to just celebrate, take a little bit of time to kind of get back into rhythm. But before you get back into your next peak season, what you need to do is take that time there, go through that list, and then figure out where there's opportunities for improvement. You don't have to fix them all. In fact, I don't recommend you fix them all. Take the top 2, 3 at most items on there and work on the fix, right? And then test the fix and make sure that it's actually a fix, right? Sometimes we make changes thinking that it's going to work and it makes things worse, but we're like, we already made the change. We got to figure it out. Don't do that, right? Just that's why I'm saying don't tackle it all at once, because if you try to tackle it all at once, you really won't know whether it's working or not, because now you've added so many variables into it that you can't figure out which improvement worked and which one's actually slowing you down. So just tackle one or two at a time, make sure that they're actually working, look at the big picture. Again, if there's other people involved, like we were just talking about solopreneurs, I guess, but the fact that you and I were both doing different bits of it, we needed to have that time to communicate and go, okay, what can I do to make your job faster and easier? And what can you do to make my job faster and easier?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So just those kinds of continuous improvements.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Now, so that's kind of the mindset thing. If you guys have any other thoughts or questions, I appreciate all the comments. They're really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle said, move some equipment around. Absolutely. I mean, and that's the crazy part that I think we're trying to make it so complicated, right? Oh, I'm streamlining my business. I got to, find the exact automation tool and design all these things exactly right. It can be so simple that you might kind of go, duh, like I've used this example lots of times before. If you're somebody that's using a direct-to-garment printer, just the way you take that shirt off of the platen, right? Just the way you put stuff on a heat platen if you're a heat printer, right? Like just the way, like Kylene mentioned, when you turn on your computer, you open up your, your Chrome or whatever you use for your internet on your computer, you can set those things that you use every day to pop up. And so for mine, up comes, like you said, the to-do list, the ChatGPT, my calendar, right? And so I've got all those things there, and then I can open separate tabs for whatever task I'm working on. So you don't have to overcomplicate it either. All right. So we're doing good. Let's hold on, taking a break. Let's see if we can hit the wellness section here really quick, and then we'll take a break and come back to the foundation. So I'm going to let you lead the wellness part here, Kylene. I'll do my best. I'm not making promises.
Well, that's all right. So this is the important part here. It's, looking at balance when we look at our wellness part here, because while we just found out and we all know, optimizing our processes is so important, we have to make sure it's sustainable. So if we're like expecting that we're going to operate at a 10, or 100% all the time.
Yeah.
Is that really sustainable? Is that really realistic? So it's making sure that you're thinking about that part in the background and how maybe after so many, you take a break and you stretch, or you take a break and you go do something else, just because we can almost burn out really, really fast if we continue to do something that just isn't realistic. And we've created these expectations for ourselves or our business or our employees, whoever it is, because in theory it works, yes, but it's important to look at the whole person. How are they truly operating here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, keep going.
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to say something. Yeah, so that's like looking at your well-being and finding your rhythm. Like I said, it's not, we always, the work-life balance, we've talked a little bit about that. It's not 8 hours here, 8 hours here, 8 hours here. It's finding that rhythm for you that maybe works in your life with the responsibilities that you have, and knowing that one area might not get your full attention in that busy season, and that's okay. It's still going to continue to move forward. And for me, that was a hard transition for me, because I had that, I shut off here, now I'm here, and then I'm here, and really finding I could get it done. I didn't believe that I could do that many ornaments back in the day. When we did that, I didn't. Truly, when we looked back, I was surprised that I was able to do that. But it was because I still made time for yoga. I still made time for my family. in there, and I still made time to get my yoga in and stretches and walks and things like that help me keep going and fill me up as well.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's avoiding that burnout, and productivity is important, right? That creates that sense of purpose and fulfillment, but we also need to fill ourselves back up again. We cannot give from an empty cup. So do the things that fill you up and energize you, whether that is, hanging out with friends or spending time with family or reading a good book, something to like just come back to you again, instead of just being, you don't have to be a robot. Business is not going to be fun if you just act like a robot all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Kylene, you talked about the rhythm, right? And I think that is really crucial to this whole thing. If you want to streamline your process, you got to find, again, that rhythm. And just to be clear, right? Balance, rhythm, when we're talking about that, again, this is not this straight line or it's always even, everything's up, down, just all even, right? Rhythm is like, okay, I got to go from one thing to the next. And right now, I got to be focused. I got to have that rhythm of the robot rhythm, like you just talked about. But then you've got to make sure that the balance comes from, okay, I've had that robot rhythm, for a half hour, whatever, your possibility is. Now I need to change things a little bit. I need to change things up. That's really what I've found out about myself for sure. Because everybody works a little bit differently. Like Kylene said, she's got to get it all done. Like if she doesn't get it all done, then she's out of her rhythm, out of her balance, right? For me, I can go really hard for like a really short burst, right? I'm more of a sprinter when it comes to that stuff, but then I got to do something different for a little bit. And then I can come back to that, right? And so, and where I get myself in trouble is if I'm not paying attention, I'm not being intentional, is then I find myself bouncing around too much. And now I get out of balance, out of rhythm. And so understanding what your rhythm is, I think, is really important. And again, like Kylene said, that rhythm can look like taking some breaks and things like that too. And so I guess the last piece here, Kylene, talk to us a little bit about this idea of kind of a holistic approach to success. Because again, I think that's also really important for us to understand as business owners is it's not about being completely even keel all the time. It's not about doing the same thing over and over. It is kind of that holistic approach to understanding that sometimes you need some hard rock and roll and sometimes you need some cool jazz, right? So.
And I think it's acknowledging that when we are thriving, when we're feeling good, like inside, our energy goes up. We start enjoying life a little bit more, right? Our business actually goes, it's more enjoyable. Some of the tasks that we don't necessarily like to do is a little bit more enjoyable because we're feeling better. Our relationships with the people around us is better. So it's that personal growth. It's learning. It's exercising, stretching, meditating. It's taking care of all of you. Allows you to show up for your business, for your life, for the people around you in a very meaningful way that's genuine to you, instead of them just getting a little bit of you because you're so exhausted and burned out because you forgot about this part of your life that was needed to get you to go there.
Well, and the other part of that too, Kylene, is people might be thinking, at times like, I just want my business to get better, right? I don't need to hear all this mumbo jumbo about, filling up my cup and stuff like that. Well, if that's you, here's what you need to understand is you're putting the wrong thing first. When you flip it around, then the success will come. But when you're gripped onto it so tightly and you're not enjoying what you're doing and you have to do all these things, right? Like you might be listening to us going, oh, this is great for you guys. You get to have fun and you've got no troubles in the world, right? Not true. We've got all the same challenges that everybody else does. We're just trying to help you guys understand that if we flip our mindset, right, that's our whole mission. We want to cultivate an uncommon mindset in the people that we can touch, right? And we know that if we build this foundation, we use these fundamentals, that
Yep.
your fulfillment is going to go like this. And when your fulfillment is like this, you're more efficient and you will be achieving your goals. But it's not the other way around. It doesn't start with achieving your goals, then you'll be more fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can take the time to actually build the right foundation and start to have more of an uncommon mindset. I'm there. You're going backwards on your roadmap. So I think that's, again, what it feels like for me when I think about this idea of a holistic approach to success.
Yeah. I mean, and we all can like think about it too. You all know when you have those moments in time or in your life where you're just feeling really good. You're feeling healthy. You're feeling energized. Even if you get a great night's sleep or you had a good conversation with someone and it just excites you, that carries on to the other areas of your life. And therefore you show up in a better way. And so I think it's just remembering how you're feeling after some of these things. And then do more of that, especially when you are in those busy seasons. It's really important to not let go of some of those things because that's going to take you through it in a healthy way.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, let's take a quick break here, Kylene, and we'll come back and give you some nuts and bolts. We'll talk about the fundamentals that you can put in place to streamline your business a little bit. So, ready for that break?
I'm ready.
The Fundamentals Live event is back and better than ever. Our last event was a huge success, and we're always striving to improve. This time, we've made it even more exclusive with only 10 seats available, and we've extended it to be even more valuable. Fundamentals Live is scheduled for October 10th through the 12th, 2024 in St. Louis, Missouri. Details can be found at osg.link/funlive. If you know it's time to transform your business from have to into get to, if you're ready to be more fulfilled and take back control of your business and life, this is the experience you need. October 10th through the 11th, you will put the fundamentals into action and walk away with a blueprint to manage a business that truly fulfills you. If you are feeling overwhelmed and undervalued, reach out to me and let's talk about what villains are holding you back. Don't wait to sign up for Fundamentals Live. October 10th through the 12th is a time you need to come together with other like-minded business owners. I have personally seen the clarity, confidence, and fulfillment this experience will bring you, and we want you to be a part of that. Don't let your hesitation stand between you and the success that you deserve. Reserve your seat today at osg.link/funlive. We'll see you in October.
All right. Well, good stuff there. So I just real quick before we get into the last part of the streamlining your business here, Kylene.
Yep.
So on Thursday during the webinar that I hosted, the Conquering Business Challenges by Unlocking Your Inner Superhero, I mentioned in that ad there, the villains that we're all faced with. During that, I said, okay, don't tell my wife, but here's what I'm thinking.
Oh boy.
So I had to figure out how to say, don't tell my wife, but I'm going to say it in front of her.
All right. I can barely wait. What is it?
Do this so I'm thinking something a little bit crazy here, Kylene, and you've actually heard this and you know what I'm thinking here.
Oh, okay.
But this experience at Fun Live is so crucial. And again, we talk about what our mission is. So stay tuned. This week, we're definitely going to be putting more stuff out there about it. But those that are tuned in right now, I want to just kind of talk it through with you guys real quick. I'm thinking my 50th birthday is coming up on the 13th of September, right? So the value of this experience, we've been told by the people that came in June, is way too low, right? So even now we're at $15.97 for you to join us, all right? And so I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? I don't even know how to say this, Kylie, and I just don't want people to miss out because they think they can't afford it, right? I believe they will be able to afford it, and if they don't feel that right now, then once they get done with it, they will, and it'll all work out in the end, right? I believe that we can't outgive the universe, and God's going to give way more than we ever will. And so Barb says, watch the first part on the replay. Sorry, shiny object. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go do something really crazy. We're going to put this out there. You name your price. You name what it's where you're at. Don't put a value on it. You can tell us afterwards what the value of it is. So if you can get here, right? If you can get here to O'Fallon October 10th through the 11th, you can, get a place to stay. We need to change a few things up to make sure that we can afford it as well. So you might need to cover a little bit of meals. I've got a thing set up where you can just put in whatever you want to put in. It could be 0, it can be 100, it can be 500, it can be 1,000, it can be 2,000, whatever you think that this is going to be worth to you. We're going to limit it to 10 people. So the first 10 people that do this. And so I've already been talking to a couple folks. So I think I've got a couple seats already filled, not confirmed yet. But if you think that this might be something for you, just reach out to me. And I will put you on that list to make sure that you're one of those 10 people that we get to work with in October. So I know Kylene's going to come down after this and go, but what do you think? What do you think, Kylene?
I mean, I think you are right. It is such a valuable experience that it is hard to see people not have that because something else is stopping them, financial. It needs potentially are stopping them from having it. And it doesn't, the light bulb moments that happen there, the transformation that happens there, like you said, it will pay for itself in the long run over and over and over again. We've seen it in just the last few months.
Chandler was one of the folks at the June event. She says the best experience I needed, and I'm still getting value out of it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
She's like, what? This is exciting.
Well, I think it's truly, wanting to impact people and truly supporting people in their growth in their business. Yeah. And when you have that investment in yourself, it's huge in the long run.
Yep. Yeah. Because we can explain it. I mean, we've spent 8 weeks now explaining it. Right. And we can, people can read the book and do all that other stuff. But we just can't duplicate, no matter how hard I've tried to do virtually or anything like that. We can't duplicate what we're able to do in that in-person experience because it's not, this is us talking, and then the folks that are listening have to kind of take it and build that experience themselves. Wow, Chandler, let's talk about this.
What'd you say?
I'd like to match up to 100. Wow, gonna make me emotional here. Thank you, Chandler. We'll talk about that. Cool. So anyhow, that's not the, Jerry says, is this for printers only for the most part? Jerry, not at all, actually. Certainly, obviously, people know me from the printing world. And so we did have, of the 6 people that were at the event in June, they were printers. But Chandler here, she runs a nonprofit. And so not a printer. I'm working with a chiropractor currently. I'm working with a handyman service currently. So yes, I know the printer language. And so, but Jerry, you're a printer too. So we can relate on that level, but this actually has nothing to do with whether you're a printer or not. So great question, Jerry. Thank you. And Chandler says, I run a nonprofit and it was amazing for me. So, all right. Again, I don't want to turn these Small Business Saturdays into this pitch for, we're kind of giving it away, so it's not a pitch anymore, but this opportunity to come. But I don't know, it was a light bulb moment that I had. And he says, my business is a small percentage as a printer now. Again, we're not talking printing techniques. We're talking about these things that we talk about on Small Business Saturdays each week, streamlining your business, whether you're a printer, you're a nonprofit, you're a chiropractor, you're a handyman service, you're a network style marketing company, doesn't matter. All of that stuff is important for us to do. And all of the tools that we're going to do will work across the board. So, okay. Let's get into the final bits here, Kylene.
Yeah, take a deep breath there. That was big.
Yeah, it is big.
It's exciting.
All right. So fundamentals, the foundation, that's what we want to kind of close out with here. So we talked about the mindset. We talked about needing to kind of step back from it a little bit. But what does that mean? Right. And so we, thank you, Chandler. So what we're talking about here is really, okay, how do we then now implement this kind of stuff? Right. Mm-hmm. And so I started at the end of that section on mindset, talking a little bit about that. And so let me reiterate kind of this, what the process is here. As you mentioned, right, I told you to take pictures of stuff, do a video. You know, if you're doing something that's online on your computer, there's screen capture video software out there. ScreenPal is a free one that you can use. I'm sure your computer already has a screen capture. It doesn't matter what it looks like, what the video or the pictures or stuff looks like, because this isn't public facing. This is only for you to make this easier for you. But what you need to do is do the process, do the working in your business process, and then just capture it some way, somehow. Like I said, for me, I would just take my phone, lean it up against something, hit record, and record the process, or again, screen capture, or document it somehow. Then come back from that. Now, if this is a big part of your process and you want to get really deep into it, I'll see if I've got a few in here. I don't even know if I do. Do you have sticky notes handy? Oh, of course you do, Kyle. What am I thinking?
Do I have sticky notes? Yes.
Do you have do you have the square ones?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you just hold them up like a square? Okay. So what you do is you take that video, and then as you got to be ready to play and pause the video. Mm-hmm. Push play. What's the first thing that you do? Push pause. Write it on that sticky note. Yeah. Find a big blank wall or something like that. A big whiteboard would be even better. Slap that sticky note up on there. So some people might consider this mind mapping. What I'm talking about is I want you to put these in order of how you currently do it. Yeah. Right. And then hold on, keep holding that up for me. Keep the visual up there for us. Okay. Now, let's say you're at a point where now you have to make a decision. Do I do this? It goes this way. Do I do this? It goes this way. So show people the simple way to manage that with your sticky notes.
All right, here we go. Oh,
okay. Yeah. Well, what do you do with the one sticky note where you're making the decision? Do you know what why a square and a diamond are the same thing?
Oh.
Okay. So the one you tore off, take it and put it away. Just put that down on the.
Thank you. This is probably quite entertaining for people.
Yeah, it's entertaining for me. Okay. So,
all right.
This and that, yay, you make a diamond. And then now you take the sticky notes and you go, and now you're going to have two chains. And then and go all the way from top to bottom. Or if you're somebody that's more of a left to right person, you can do the same thing, left to right, right? However your brain works, just get it in some sort of an order. And then look at that whole thing and say, okay, what is slowing me down? What could I do differently? Do I need to move this part get rid of this part of the process, right? My friend Terry tells a story about a production shop he came into to help them get more efficient. And they were constantly going to they had these books, like 3-ring binder kind of books on this big shelf. And people were constantly going to these books, writing stuff in the book, and then putting it back on the shelf. And this went on all day long. People do their thing, walk over to the book, come back. So the next day he asked, what do you guys do with the books? Do you ever go back to those books? And they're like, no, we do. And so he finally goes and talks to the owner. He's like, what's with the books? He's like, we used to keep track of our production in there, but now we do it all online. And he's like, well, do you know that your people are still putting stuff in the books? And he's like, no. And so then he talks to people and they're like, do you guys ever go back to it? Or, why do you put stuff in the books? And they're like, well, that's what we were told to do. And so that just kind of kept trickling down and they never changed that part of the process. So now they got a whole nice shelf back and stopped wasting all of the. So anyhow, just you can find things like that. So that's really the first part of the process here, Kylene. Mm-hmm. It's just look at what you can improve. All right. The next part of the process is you got to identify some key metrics that'll help you understand if it truly is a bottleneck that's getting fixed or changed. So, thinking about things like, how many are you making per hour? Can you make that a little bit quicker? How many, Jerry said a small percentage of your business is as a printer, but you mentioned that you were shipping a whole bunch, right? So how many packages are you shipping a day? Or, that kind of thing. And so what you want to do is you want to start looking for those key metrics that will tell the story of, are you getting better? Right. And just things that really truly reflect your business health. We want to avoid the vanity metrics, right? Like a company I used to work with, one of the metrics the owner loved to keep track of was how many new customers a day we got. And while that was great for him to go and show off how many new customers a day he was getting, it had nothing to do with how well the company was going, because even though we got 30 new customers a day, we still had the exact same amount of active customers on a monthly basis. So we were probably losing 30 customers a day, right? Now, tracking how many active customers you have, that could be very informative for you, right? So it can be a number of different things, but just try to find something that would correlate to what it is that you're trying to improve in your process. All right. Does that make sense, Kylene?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
And does that make sense to everybody that's tuned in and listening live? Does that, so if you're tuned in, you're listening live, or if you're on the replay, what would be a metric that you could measure that would potentially impact an improvement that you're trying to make in your process right now? All right. So I'll let you guys put that in there. The other thing that you can do, and probably should do on a regular basis, not shooting on you, but this could be very valuable for you. Let's leave it at that. Which is what? Starts with a T, Kylene.
The time study?
Yeah. I'll say with a question mark. One more
time study. Yay.
All right. Do you want to explain that to folks? I feel like I explain it. People go, what?
Yeah. So it's essentially paying attention to your work tasks throughout the day. Have your phone by you, have a stopwatch, and then just journal or tracking how long it takes you to do certain things and what you're doing. Even if it is like, okay, turning on my computer, checking my emails, how long is that taking me? Okay, now I'm doing this from this time to this time, and it's accounting for all of your time. And then after you have enough data, you could do this for a week or two, and then you really will understand the themes and the habits that are there. How can I possibly be spending, 4 hours a day on social media, for example? How is that possible? Is that really something that I should be doing? Can I cut back, and then I could bring this in to do more of this that's actually going to let my business grow or fill up my cup a little bit, and I could be doing something else. So it's really just knowing where your time is spent, because we think we know, but until you actually see it, you don't quite realize where your time's going.
Yeah. Chandler says, I realize I talk to my tenants too much, even though it's my job to keep them happy. And but that's by realizing that, right? Now you can change your process, right? Yeah. Like, okay, I'm talking to them too much, but is there a certain point of diminishing return, right? It is your job to keep them happy. Is there a better way for you to keep them happy without having to make it conversations all the time, right? Is there a way that you can get some focused work opportunities by, sitting in a different place, or right? Like, we can get creative with that. And I think the part that you put at the front there, I realized, there you go, right? And that's what all this is about. Just trying to find new realizations of ways that we can improve, right? So, and honestly, that's kind of the last couple bits on this, Kylene. I know we're going to get into bonus time here, but just to kind of start to wrap this up, feedback is going to be crucial. So we won't talk too much about feedback, because we actually just spent a good 45 minutes to an hour talking about it on Wednesday night in the Rising Tide Talks. So if you haven't watched that, go back to our Wednesday night Rising Tide Talks with Becky Kotzer. And we talk a lot about, feedback and just kind of getting that. So make sure that you're including feedback from outside sources, even if it's, again, you're a solopreneur and you're doing this all by yourself. Okay, is this affecting my customers? Do they need, something different, right? Like when they get the package, does it make them excited, or are they like, another thing from Aaron, another thing from Jerry that's just shoved in a box, right? Or whatever, right? And Jerry, I'm not picking on you. I don't know. I'm sure they go, oh my gosh, it's another thing for Jerry. Awesome. Right. But we got to make sure of that, right? We can't just guess on things like that. And then when you have that kind of metric to measure, then you need to set up a scoreboard, right? Like, how do you then make sure that it's improving, right? It's one thing to say, okay, I need to do this a little more efficiently, but are you sure that it's actually getting better, or is it actually getting worse, right? You do all the work on the front end. How do you make sure that it's improving? And then just understanding that this is always a continuous process, and that it is about, making changes, checking them to make sure that they're working, and then coming back and seeing if there's additional changes to make, right? No process is ever going to be perfect. And you will find that the second that it gets perfect, your business is going to change anyways. So just embrace this as part of the fun, right? I mean, I get pretty excited talking about this stuff, right? It's not to say that I'm this big process guru and whatnot. I think it's just part of running a business, and therefore I've made a way to make it fun in my mind. It's a game, how do we? That's why there's a scoreboard, right? We keep to see that scoreboard going up, right? That's a fun thing to know, right? And so adding that in will also bring the whole balance part back together there too. So, all right. Anything left on the fundamentals before we start closing up, Kylene?
I don't think so. I think, just overall, those small changes, if we pay attention to what the results are after that and learn from it, we can make big differences, and it doesn't have to like totally rock our world when we're adding these different or making these little tweaks in our day to day.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, let's close this up here, Kylene. Yeah. I think we've had a great conversation. Thank you guys for taking some time. Thank you for allowing me some time to talk about fundamentals live in the middle there. As we wrap up, we would love to hear from you guys. What's the main thing that you plan to implement? What's your biggest takeaway from today? And if you wouldn't mind, go out and share this with the people in your network and say, hey, make sure you're coming back next Saturday. Here's what I'm taking away from it. All right. We'd really appreciate that. So go ahead and share it in the comments right now. And then please share it with your community. Okay. And Sandy, I just want to read Sandy's comments there. I was listening to the book Ready, Fire, Aim, and he was discussing incremental improvements and incremental degradation. Very interesting. Absolutely. Yeah, that's all part of what we're talking about here, Sandy. I love that. I haven't read that one yet. I'll have to add that one to my list. Thank you, Sandy, for that. So again, what are you guys going to take away from this? And also just let's keep getting active in the, we're getting there. We're getting more and more each day, but some days I still feel like I'm talking in the void. So make sure you guys are part of the Facebook group, Entrepreneur Success Hub. And I do have a date mapped out in my brain, but I'm not ready to announce it yet, but we will have a roundtable discussion. I've been doing them in person. In fact, we've got the second one coming up September 23rd. If you're someone local that would like to come check out the beautiful 8020 studios in O'Fallon, Missouri, even if you're a little bit outside of town, you should still come check it out. So September 23rd in the morning at 8:15, come meet us. But you got to be part of the group. You got to be engaged in there. I know I'm saying you have to, and you obviously have to make that decision for yourself. But I feel like, Kylene, do you have time on the 23rd? I don't know. We'll have to, could be. Yeah. She's probably got some other cool things happening at 8020 Studios soon too. I keep prodding her, Chandler. But anyhow, just I keep talking about the group and I'm not getting there. Our success group is Entrepreneur Success Hub. It's a Facebook group. So if you go to osg.link/group, that'll take you right there. Make sure that you're somebody that is a member of that group and that you're somebody that is actively engaged in the conversation. Becky's started an awesome 21-day gratitude challenge. And I said it during Rising Tide Talks that if you're somebody that comments on all 21 of those posts that she makes in there that you will be entered into a drawing to win a book. And if you already own the book, then we'll figure out something else of value for you that you can win too. So even if you already own the book, get in. There's an opportunity to gain some value there. So anyhow, get over there, osg.link/group.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was going to bring that up if you didn't. So gratitude's important. It's our superpower. So go ahead and be part of that over there too.
Yeah.
So again, thank you guys all for being here. Remember, implementing that one small change can make that big difference for you. And again, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like it and share it with other entrepreneurs. We're here to help.
Sounds good. All right, Kylene, we've gone along, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, but we are here every Saturday to support you in thriving in your business and life. The next 2 weeks, so we're just going to put it out front here, so we're transparent. We will be recording those, and so they will be playing, so you might not have as much interaction with us then, but please still comment in there, get in there and comment, because we will go back, and we can't do it live, but we will be kind of being able to pop in there and comment and still make it a conversation. So the next 2 weeks we will be, next Saturday, we will be in a volleyball gym, hoping that our son's tryouts go well. So
big weekend. Yep.
It is a big weekend. All right, you guys. Well, until next time, make sure you guys stay motivated, stay focused, and don't forget to celebrate each win each day. Next week, we are going to discuss the fact that success is a team sport and how you can create your winning team. And that show will be posted at noon Central Time next Saturday. So make sure you're engaging in those comments, being a part of the discussion in the Facebook group, and just helping and supporting your fellow business owners. And most importantly, believing in yourself, because we believe in you.
Yes, we do believe in you. Stay positive. Find something to be grateful for in your life. Share it over in the Facebook group. And we will see you guys live in a couple weeks, but we'll see you next week for the recording.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights with the support of our success group. We're taking flight.